Hello everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to a brand new match preview on the channel. The games are coming thick and fast and we're back in Premier League action. Wolves will be hosting Arsenal at Molineux this week. And another game that Wolves really have to win because it's been a long run now of no wins for Wolves. As always, I'm going to be giving my thoughts ahead of the game and we'll get the Arsenal perspective later on in the video as well. But I hope you guys are keeping well and safe, and be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Like I say, most videos now, the support has been immense. I really do appreciate it. But we look back to Saturday's game, another defeat for Wolves against Crystal Palace. I mean, we can have a look at our fixtures now. Very quickly, we have to go all the way back to December the 15th to find our last league win. And the win before that was obviously the game against Arsenal as well. So in the league, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now 8 games without victory. And things are starting to look not so good for Wolves. We really need to improve how we play, and I think a lot of fans were hoping that we can maybe improve the squad. I'm currently recording this on transfer deadline day, and it seems like there's going to be no new additions. Look, we know the January transfer window is such a difficult window to shop in. There's no real value for money, but there were players out there that I feel Wolves could have gotten on loan just to help strengthen our squad, and Wolves haven't done that. And now we're going to be relying on the solutions, as Nuno likes to call them, in the squad to try and somehow up this morale, up this confidence, and see how we can get on, really. We've just got to make sure we don't get dragged into some sort of relegation dogfight. That would be a disaster for me, because I don't think we've got the passion and the experience for it, really. So we need to try and get some wins as soon as we can, really. You'd probably say on paper Arsenal isn't one of those games where you guaranteed a win, really, but they've got a couple of players that are out injured at the moment, which could favour Wolves. I believe Aubameyang, Tierney and Saka are all doubts for the game, which would be a huge bonus for Wolves. But we have to look at the squad for Wolves and think, what does Nuno need to do? What does Nuno need to change for Wolves to have a chance to get something out of this game? Do we stick with the back five? Do we switch to the back four? It's really something that Wolves need to consider. For this game, really, we played well with the back five. We held on for a goalless draw, but I don't think Wolves can afford to play like we did against Chelsea, against Arsenal. We're at home as well. I know it's not a massive difference because of the fans and so on, but we're not having to travel. I'd be leaning towards possibly playing a back four for this game. I would drop Cody. I would drop Cody. I mean, he hasn't looked fantastic recently, if we're being brutally honest. And I'd probably give Kilman and Bolly a go in the middle. The left back situation is a difficult one at the moment. I think as soon as we can get Johnny back, I'd love to see us be more comfortable in the back four with a slightly more defensive left back. But you could see Keanu Hoover and Nelson Semedo there as those as those full backs again, and just bulk out the midfield. Maybe, that 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-1. We need to get an extra body in midfield, I think, because if we play 5-3-2, there's not enough going forward. If we play 5-2-3, there's nothing in the middle. I think the 4 at the back just adds that and offers us that little more balance in the team. There were some really poor performances against Palace. The likes of Jean Moutinho, then Doug had question marks over his performance as well. And I would fully expect those two to be changed up, really. Especially Moutinho. I think Neves could just walk straight into that team to play Arsenal. And a lot of fans calling for Otasowie to have another opportunity. Just add that little bit more balance and aggression into the midfield, which I think would be perfect for us, really. You look ahead as well to some of the next fixtures for Wolves. Of course, Leicester on Sunday at Molineux as well. We've actually got 3 games at home in a row now, so we've really got to try and use this to our advantage. And to be honest, next 2 games, very difficult games in Arsenal and Leicester. But if we do get 6 points, I think that will almost change our season all around. We'd be in a much better position. Because if you look at the league table at the moment, it doesn't look fantastic for us, because we could genuinely, if results go against us and we don't beat Arsenal, we could be just we could genuinely be in 17th place in the league. So it's not nice to look at the moment. But we've really got to improve our performances. We've got to get more men forward because we're just not threatening teams whatsoever. I'd rather us be a little bit more entertaining, take the game to teams a little bit more, and try and see us score more goals. And that's what we did against Arsenal. You remember that unfortunate game where Raul Jimenez got injured last time at the Emirates, and we took the game to Arsenal and they couldn't deal with it, and we got a really, really solid win with two great goals as well. So I'm hoping to see more of that. I think we need to see more of that. We need something to lift the mood of the fans because these performances aren't doing that at the moment. And if we're not going to invest in the window, of course Nuno has got to rely on this squad. He's been talking about these young players that he's got in his squad. Let's start using them a little bit more because the likes of Jean Matinho are outdated now. We need to give Neves more opportunities. The likes of Otasawi more chances as well. But now we've got the thoughts of a good friend of mine, Deluded Guna. He runs an Arsenal fan page. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to interview him this time round, but here are his thoughts ahead of Wolves versus Arsenal.
Dave, thank you very much for asking me to provide you with some talking points from an Arsenal fan point of view. And as usual, shout out to Talking Wolves, man. It's one of the best platforms out there. I really appreciate the insightful content that you guys provide. And I also really like how you lot capture the fans' sort of mood around Wolves. So you lot shout out to what you're doing. But as you know, it's Wolves versus Arsenal on Tuesday. You've got a bag of questions for me, so I'm going to look over and answer them for you. First and foremost, you've asked me, what are your thoughts on Arsenal's season so far? Roller coaster, topsy-turvy, full of emotions. One that shows you all the emotions in terms of being a football fan, bro, in the sense of, at one point it looked like Arsenal might get relegated. Now, I don't know whether it's due to our form, whether it's down to what is a crazy Premier League season, but we find ourselves in 10th. Now, as you know, the Premier League, for a lot of teams in a lot of positions, there isn't too much in it in terms of the league is fluctuating. And I personally believe this year the league is what you make it. Beyond Manchester City of late, they had a fantastic January. They won every game and all of those sort of things. Nobody's really put some form together and really ran away, whether that's trying to win the league, cement a top four place, the relegation candidates, the mid-table finishes. So with that, I feel in May, if you don't achieve whatever your team selective goal is, it's your fault. Now, I think Arsenal have been up and down this season. Of late, we've been superb by our own standards. So it's down to us to kick on. I like how of recent, we've gone into some big games. We ain't been perfect, but we've played well. So I'd say thoughts on Arsenal this season is definitely more improved. It is more of the same. Let's be brutally honest. But we're definitely better than we was, I'd say, really and truly. Again, it was looking doom and it's looking all right. For me, again, you really couldn't, in terms of our ethos and our DNA, before the turn of the new year, you really struggled to see what that was. But I think we've kind of got that. I think we're starting to play players in the right position. I think players are starting to stand up to be counted. And as fans, we're now, again, obviously football players care, but it was at times fans could argue they never necessarily saw that Arsenal was dying to win. Now we see a bit more togetherness, a bit more grit, a bit more determination. So the world's kind of your oyster. So improved of late, really. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're still 10th. At this moment in time, we're still 10th. So while we've been better by Arsenal's standards in terms of what we tried to set out to do at the start of the season, it's not really that. So it is what we make of it. Who have been Arsenal's best performers so far this season? I think it's very easy to kind of mark that. I think you've got to go with the young Bukayo Saka. He's got to be up there. Wild card, I'm gonna go with Rob Holding personally. I think Rob Holding's been good. I'd say Rob Holding, Bukayo Saka. Partey when fit has been great. Of recent he hasn't been in the team, but Gabriel's been good. You can't mention Arsenal without mentioning Kieran Tierney. I would say they're the main performers. Smith Rowe since he's come into the team as well. I'd say people who have stepped it up in recent weeks and kind of really improved in tandem with how our form's improved. I'd say Lacazette's turned a sort of corner. Cedric's come in of late and done very well. Xhaka's turned in some performances as well. David Luiz even as well. There's several decent performers. Again, a lot of footballers at this football club or my football club are hot and cold, but I would say, the Bukayo Sakas, the Kieran Tierney's, the Martinelli's, deep people of these ilks is, the usual suspects firmly in that regards. I'd say outside choice, I'd give it to Rob Holding, personally. You've also said, which Wolves players worry you the most? Well, last game is still fresh in my mind, and Everybody really. I mean, set pieces scare me. Again, I don't know why, but I know it just appears as an outsider looking at Wolves that Roman Saiss, forgive me for mispronunciation, looks like a danger from set pieces. I admire Connor Cody, but players that actually scare me, I'm always scared of attacking fullbacks. You've got Semedo, you've got the other lad on the left-hand side. Podence is a very decent player, and way before he showed it against us playing for you guys, we watched him play against it. We played Olympiacos and he did quite well, and I think he actually played well against Spurs. If I remember correctly, Spurs, Bayern Munich, and Olympiacos were in the same Champions League group stage. So we know what he's about. Pedro Neto's a baller and, first-hand experience of what he did to us at the Emirates. So that's down to our players. Adama, obviously, for that raw aggression and power and things like that. Obviously, Raul Jimenez is sadly missing out due to what happened the last time our teams played. Love to see that he's progressing, and long may he return to football before not too long. But I'd say the usual suspect. I'm scared of the work ethic that you lot have. I know of recent Wolves haven't been in good form, just looking at you lot over the grapevine, but I'm not even looking at that personally. I'm looking at the Wolves team that played against us. And I don't want any complacency within our Arsenal team if we think just because you lot lost to Palace and whatever results that we can just turn up and get a result. And it's another away game. You asked me at the start what's my thoughts of Arsenal. We've actually been doing decent away from home. I want to see a bit more wins at home, admittedly, but we have to deal with what's in front of us, which is a trip to Wolverhampton. So I'd say the usual suspects. All your attacking players scare me. Pedro Neto in particular, if you was to push me. You said, how do you expect Arsenal to line up, and prediction? I'll start with the prediction. You know me, I don't really like predictions. They're a bit of a poison chalice, but I say 2-0 Arsenal. Arsenal, please don't make me look stupid. And in relation to how I expect Arsenal to line up, I don't expect us to go three at the back, so probably a 4-2-3-1. There's been a lot of talk in relation to Bukayo Saka, Kieran Tierney, and Aubameyang, and Arteta's played quite coy on all of those individuals. Kieran Tierney and Saka, at this moment in time, I saw them in full training, but Arteta himself, didn't give any clues as to when Aubameyang is going to return, and he's kind of made out that it's a race against time to prove the fitness of our two players. If Kieran Tierney and Bukayo Saka are there, then I'll go with the following line I'm about to say. I would swap out. Tierney would play left back, and Bukayo Saka would play on the right. If everybody's fit, I would go with Leno in goal. Of course, right back, I'd personally go with Cedric. I would like to go with David Luiz and Holding. I would like Gabriel to get back in that lineup, but these lot have been playing more than him of recent, and they've been doing all right. So maybe it's a case of not changing anything. So Rob Holding and David Luiz at centre half. Right back would be Cedric. Left back would be Tierney. Midfield three, I'd have Smith Rowe in the cam row in the 10 position. Behind them, Xhaka and Partey. As our front three, I would go with Lacazette, Aubameyang on the left, and probably Bukayo Saka on the right. Saying that, there is a legit debate to be had around potentially dropping out Aubameyang and letting Pepe, who's been all right in his last two games, start. Or you could sacrifice Lacazette, which I don't think is fair. But that would be my lineup if everybody's fit. If we're not missing, if Kieran Tierney has to miss out and Bukayo Saka has to miss out, then Tierney would swap out. I would pull Cedric back over to left back. Bellerin would obviously, as a result of that, play at right back. Saka would obviously vacate the right wing spot. Apologies. And then I would look to go with a front three of Lacazette, Aubameyang on the left, and Pepe on the right. So that would be the lineup. So yeah, and to go over the prediction again, I'd say potentially Arsenal 2, Wolves 0, but I'm not one for predictions. Thank you very much for asking me for my thoughts, man. And like I said, man, make sure if you're supporting Talking Wolves in any way you can, and I'll catch up with you after the game.
A big thanks to DG for that. You can find his links in the description down below. Much appreciated. Now my predicted lineup. Now, I'm not predicted lineup. I'm going to say the lineup I would go for rather than predicted lineup. I would start with tomorrow in goal Patricio, left back Semedo, centre backs of Bolly and Kilman, and a right back option of Keanu Hoover. Look, obviously Sace may be fit. I think if we go with a back five, I would still be inclined to possibly drop Cody and put Sace in the middle of that back five. Midfield, I would introduce Otasawi, Neves. If you want to go, Otasawi, Neves. Number 10 role of Daniel Podence. Right hand side of Dharma, left hand side Neto, and Willian Jose up front. We saw Jose in the last game, had some promising moments, had a few shaky moments as well. But I would go with that team and see how it goes. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. A must-win game for Wolves. We've said that for the last couple of weeks now. Wolves desperate to get 3 points. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to the game, and fingers crossed they can do us proud. Be sure to hit the like button down below, guys. Subscribe to the channel. If you are on a desktop or PC, you can click the little join button by the subscribe button, and that will send you a link, take you to a link where you can support Talking Wolves if you wish. Yeah, until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you all very, very soon.